What's up, everybody? I'm Brandon, aka Thug Nasty, and this month I won the Back to Dueling Remote Duels Win-A-Mat thing that they got going on. It's the GGEZ one. I came in 4th place last month, I think, but this month I happened to pull it out and get 1st place for the whole month. I got 1st place week 1, and then I got 3rd place week 2, and then weeks 3 and 4 I went back-to-back undefeated. It just feels good, and of course I did it with Drytron best deck. You know, dead deck, everyone thinks it's dead, but it's still very strong, and it happened to give me the win. So let's go ahead and get into the profile. So we'll start off with the Drytrons themselves. You know, I play 3 Alpha, 3 Zeta. These are, you know, the best ones going first and to start the combo. So we got to max out on those. I played 2 Gamma. The reason why I play 2 Gamma is because it does something almost by itself. If the other ones get ashed or negated by Gamma or whatever, Cyframe Gamma, then the Gamma will be able to at least leave you on a link 1 and make it so you don't die. And a lot of people tend to like DD Crow or Ghost Spell it. So obviously Ghost Spell wouldn't matter, but if you get DD Crowed, it's nice to always have the second one. It guarantees you have a play every turn. We also played the 1 Delta. Delta is it's the only one that doesn't do anything by itself. It needs something else to be able to draw you one, and it's really only good in the grind game, you know. So we do still happen to play it, you know. Midionis add 1 back, and it's a free draw every turn. But I felt it was the least important one, so we left it at 1. And then I do play a Megalith package. I play 2 Fool, 1 Ophiel, 1 Bethor. This is the best ratio I've tested. I've tested smaller packages with only 3 Megalith cards, you know, 1 Fool, 1 Auk, and 1 Bethor. I changed the Auk to an Ophiel. Now that we only have 1 Benten, the draw 1, discard 1 doesn't seem as good as just a straight up search. Also, now that I bumped Fool up to 2, Ophiel tends me to search another Fool, so you always have a Fool in hand as a ritual fodder or as a follow-up for next turn in case your board gets cleared, but it's usually pretty hard for them to clear your board. And then Bethor I cut for a while actually, but I put it back in the deck, and it's very needed. Not needed, but it's very helpful for the moments where decks really rely on their normal summon or the back row heavy decks. You wait until they're about to pass, you know, about to go into end phase, and you just tell them, yo, before end phase, I want to activate Fool, ritual summon Bethor, pop their back row, or if they just normal summon like Prank Kids or even Zoo, you know, you just ritual summon Bethor and you pop their normal summon, and they have to have the extender, or if they don't, you know, it's pretty much GG from there. And then we'll move on to the fairy package. I played 1 Manju, 1 Benten, 1 Natasha, and 1 Ultimateness. Manju, in my opinion, is a superior normal summon instead of Ruler. Ruler is kind of like free, but Manju just helps you keep extending, and my deck likes to make rank 4s. So Manju is a really good card to make rank 4s with. It's also fairy, so you can banish it with Eva, you know, to go ahead and get you your search as another name. And then the one of Benten, Natasha. Some people are cutting the Natasha. I still think she's very helpful for going second and for clearing boards as well as in time. I have considered siding her, but I do tend to run out of ritual monsters sometimes. So I would like to keep the prep live as much as I can, and you do that by just continuing to play the Natasha. People have mentioned Idaten and how good Idaten is. I haven't really done too much testing with Idaten, but the testing that I have done, it just seems like she's unnecessary. Herald of Ultimateness, I consider this superior to the Herald of Perfection for the simple line where it says negate a special summon, right? If you negate a Prank Kid's Link 1 into Meow Meow, they don't get their Prank Kid effect, so it's very good in that case. Also, against like a Zoo deck or a Zoo Eldritch deck or whatever Zoo variant runs around nowadays, they usually just normal summon, go into Borbo, attack directly, just to get into Zeus, right? And then if you only have the Eva in hand, they will out the Herald. So it's nice to just be able to negate the summon of Borbo and then usually they need an extender. They need something like Barrage or Monster Reborn or something to continue to play. If not, then you pretty much just stop their whole turn. Sure, they're going to set some back row, but that's when Bethor comes in and cleans it up. We also played the 3 Orange Light, 1 Petite Angel, 1 Eva. This is very standard. It's Herald protects you from Nib, protects you from Droll. It's fodder for ultimateness. Eva gets you the Herald, and you need Petite Angel for the second search off of Eva. It's also pretty decent as a follow-up. You only have 2 searchable targets off of it now, but it's still very good. But those are the fairies. For the last main deck monster, we played 3 Nibiru. It's my hand trap of choice. It's very generic, it hits most decks. Most decks tend to summon over 5 times. A lot of people don't see it coming nowadays, and it's a very good going second card, and I felt like the deck really needed a going second card. So this is the one that I chose to play. It's just very good. Why not main deck a very good card? Drytron Nova, Cyber Emergency, and Preparation Rites. These guys are your searchers. The Nova and the Cyber Emergency get you to any Drytron that you're missing. If you have half the combo, they will get you to the rest of the combo. If you have combo but you just want to end with something bigger, it will get you to the Gamma. If you just feel like you need to draw because you already have the other names in hand and you just want to fuel your grave, it'll get you to Delta. It pretty much gets you what you need when you need it. Preparation Rites will search you the Ben 10 or the Natasha or the Fool, whatever you happen to need to just be able to full combo and keep playing. It will also get you back to Medionis from grave. A lot of people seem to cut it for Prosperity. Prosperity is a very good card. I don't really like it. It reveals too much of your deck, too much of your tech choices, too much of your ratios for me to consider it a great card. But it is a very good card. I choose not to play it. It seems like not my kind of card. And then for another searcher, we play a Fafnir, 2 Fafnir, and then we also play 2 Medionis. The reason why I play 2 Medionis is because I've been DD Crowed on Medionis in the past a lot. And although it doesn't completely kill your deck, you can still XYZ, you can still make plays after they DD Crow your Medionis or Ghost Spell your Medionis. It's more for the fact that it makes Zeta actually do something after turn 1. Zeta turn 1, you're gonna search Medionis, and then every turn after that, Zeta is just vanilla almost. Sure, it gets you the body on board, but I think it's nice for Zeta to just do something more than just turn 1, and then it also thins your deck. Zeta search the Medionis is pretty good, and then with the Megaliths, I think it's very nice to hard draw it sometimes, and also it makes it easier for you to summon Fool and Ultimateness without having to reduce your guys' attack points. You just drop it whenever you feel like it's time for you to ritual summon. You just go ahead and use it to ritual summon Fool and Ultimateness and keep extending without really having to add it back, and then you can just add it back later in the turn as a discard fodder. And then for the last cards, I played Instant Fusion and Called By. Instant Fusion is pretty much a second Called By, so why play 1 Called By when you could play 2, right? We'll go with the extra deck. Again, this list is pretty generic, but I would say, so the extra deck is also pretty generic. Link Karibo and Relinquished Anima. A lot of people have been cutting the Anima now that we don't really make Union Carrier, but I still think it's very good. It punishes bad players, and it also lets you take the Nibiru token after the Nibiru token becomes huge, because a lot of times you just Nibiru them right before end phase, or Nibiru them before Appaloosa or whatever, and some decks tend to put out pretty big monsters nowadays, so even in defense it can end up being pretty big. But you just take the token, and it helps you not have to go into a higher link like Unicorn to try to spin it back or something like that. So it's much easier to just take the token. We also play IP, Phoenix, and Unicorn. IP is just so generic and it's very easy to make, and it creates an interruption on your opponent's turn, which is very nice. Phoenix outs things like there could be only one, It's outed there could be only one many times, and I just think it's a great generic little card. Unicorn, it's a bounce, you know, and quick effect balance is very good in Yu-Gi-Oh. It's you know, Silk is very good, and so is Kieran. Those are very good cards. So why not have a Kieran in your extra deck? And I don't play Cerebus. I decided to cut the Cerebus for a flex spot later. It's the one that came up the least, and it's the one that I didn't really, that people play around and stuff. So I just decided maybe it's not worth it. For the Link 4s, we have Axis, Appaloosa, and Borrelsword. Borrelsword is kind of like my favorite out of these. I make it the most, and it helps me end games the most. Access code, I still play it for linking away. You know, if I take a Link 3 with Natasha or something like that, it's very easy to make an access code and just make it huge. And also the fact that you can't really respond to it is very nice. Appaloosa, I say, is still very needed because it's a FTK against certain decks. It's a FTK in the mirror if you make it with enough materials. I always try to go for 4 materials, sometimes 3. But it's just an FTK against certain decks, and it's a very nice option to have in the extra deck. It's super good card. We also play a Zeus package. We play Fuko, Nightingale, Down there Zeus. These guys are pretty busted. The fact that Nightingale could just let you attack directly, and then you go down at Zeus for 4 material Zeus is pretty nice. And then Fuko, he's kept me alive after I've gotten hand trapped like crazy. And then I still managed to put 2 level 1s on board, whether it's 2 Drytrons or a Drytron and an Eva, and then just make this little guy. And he makes it so you don't die that turn, which is very good because you know, a lot of decks nowadays can pump out damage like crazy, so they'll end you. But the fact that he can't be destroyed by battle if you detach, and you also take no damage, is very nice. And he's unaffected by everything, so he's very nice for just being able to live after you get hand trapped, drolled, you know, just a couple hand traps stop your combo. And then I also play Abyss Dweller. Abyss Dweller I feel like is very good against most of the meta right now. It's my rank 4 of choice, and it's really good. It destroys like half the meta decks. And then Beatrice, this is the flex spot I was talking about. Beatrice, I used to not play her. I tested out many other things like Cerebus and also Geonator, but everybody tends to play around those two. You know, like a lot of people play around Cerebus, and everyone plays around Geonator just because of how scared they are of it. So I decided if everyone's playing around it, there's no reason to really play it. And Beatrice is really good because it becomes a quick effect Foolish Burial. If you happen to get 2 fools, make them level 6. You end with 1 fool, and it's a level 6 because you added back Benten. And then in your follow-up turn, you can summon the other fool on your opponent's turn to add back a Benten. And now you have 2 level 6 fools. And you could stack them for Beatrice and just get another piece engraved, which can really help you in the grind game. It's just, and it also, you can attack with it, you know, go into Zeus as well. So it's a pretty good card. Also Beatrice and Borrelsword, you know, that's game right there. And shout out to Hydralander BA. For the last extra deck card, Millenniumizer Strict. It's needed for the instant fusion, and you know, it's the second called by essentially. Alright, so now we'll go ahead into the side deck. I always say that side decks should be catered to whatever tournament you're going into, you know, so I play a bunch of stuff that's catered to my locals, and just try to think about what tournament you're going to play into before you make the side deck. But anyway, we played hella hand traps for the side deck. You know, we played the 3 Lancia, 2 Ash, and Phantasme. Lancia is just good against many decks. If you standby phase it, you know, it locks a lot of cards out, like Prosperity and Extravagance and Desires. You know, they just and it also like auto kills certain decks like Eldritch or Dino, or you know, Lancia is just very good, and it's also searchable. So going second, I side in all 3. Going first, sometimes I only side 2 or 1 if I feel like it's not really as needed. But it's a light fairy, so you could use it with Herald anyway if you hard draw it and it's not that needed. But it's very good. It's Floodgate hand trap. Ash is more for the Dragoon decks that, you know, really focus on hard drawing the fusion or opening with fusion. It really stops fusion. It's also very good against dolls. you could hit the fusion as well, or any of the little effects like Wendy or Squamata. It's just nice to have more hand traps. And Phantasme is really only here for 2 decks. It's here for Prank Kids and it's here for Dragon Link. Those 2 decks tend to really link summon a lot, and you could get a good amount of advantage off of just one Phantasme. I've been even thinking of bumping this up to 3. I just can't really find space in the side deck. It's been really good, this format, and I just want to keep testing with it. It seems good. Those are the side deck hand traps. And then we also play 3 Dark Ruler for Winda decks, Dragoon decks. The PK deck tends to open up a pretty busted board. Triple Fog Blade with Rusty, with Break Sword in the Grave, ready to be revived, to Rusty Pop, and Dragoon also. So Dark Ruler is just a really card to just negate everything. And then for back row hate, we play Twin Twisters and Evenly Matched. There's a good amount of Eldritch in my locals, so I play Twin Twisters over Cosmic because of the fact that Cosmic is just overall better in the matchup. But the fact that I don't want to be in time and be locked out of certain side deck cards. Like I don't want to have like 10 minutes left knowing that I'm either going to combo off or we're going to get into a time situation, and I don't want to take that 1,000. And Evenly Matched is just a blowout, so a lot of people also don't see this coming, and it's just super good. It's just a blowout. But yeah, that's pretty much the profile. I wanted to give a shout out to Tisame Gaming, my boy Andrew. He always runs really good tournaments over there, and it's a nice place to remote duel and play competitive Yu-Gi-Oh. A lot of good players tend to really join. We even got a couple YouTubers that tend to show their face at locals every now and then. But yeah, that's my Drytron deck profile. I'll probably end up putting up a combo video. I've been asked a lot for a combo video. What happens when you don't draw this and this? So just be on the lookout. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.